Living in a small space can at times be quite challenging, especially when it comes to balancing form and function while trying to make enough storage to cram all our belongings. In this video, I'll go through 12 of my best design tips to make a small space look and feel bigger. Tip 1. Use multifunctional furniture. When living in a small space, it is important to make sure that every furniture piece has more than one function to ensure that you're maximizing your space. There are so many pieces of bulky furniture that only serves a singular function, and when you put too many of them into one space, it quickly creates a cramped or claustrophobic atmosphere. One of the most popular forms of multifunctional furniture is furniture that doubles as storage. There are many examples of this, such as storage cabinets that double as a bench, benches that have lids that lift up with storage underneath, roll-out storage systems under beds, as well as sofas that have storage underneath the cushions. You can also use the core that hides clutter, such as wicker bins, baskets, and trays that look both decorative and organized. These items enable you to hide your clutter away while still keeping the room open and feeling spacious. You can also find multifunctional furniture that is built specifically for small spaces. Some common examples are bookcases with fold-down tables, sofas that convert into beds, storage headboards for beds, small dining tables that can expand when entertaining large groups of people, and wide block-out blinds that can be used as projector instead of a TV. I highly suggest that you aim for every piece of furniture to have at least two functions to make the most out of your small space. Tip 2. Keep it organized. Keeping a small space organized and clean is one of the simplest ways to make it feel larger. Regrettably, we can all be pretty lazy when it comes to cleaning, as well as when it comes to deciding when to throw things out. All of this clutter lying around can really close up a space and make it appear smaller. This does not mean that you have to become a fully fledged minimalist. Instead, be intentional about what you own and where you store it in your home. Have specific cupboards or shelves where you store certain things so you aren't tempted to leave clutter lying around the house. It is also a good idea to do a periodic deep clean where you donate or throw out old items that you do not need anymore. If you're unsure about an item, place it in a transition box. Then, if you haven't used it for a full month later, consider rehoming it. Spaces usually feel smaller when we have too much decor or knickknacks lying around. As we often do not want to throw them out, a good idea is to rotate your favorite ones every few weeks instead of having them all on display at once. As for storage solutions, make sure that you have a combination of open and closed shelving. If it is all open, your space will feel cluttered. However, if it is all closed, the space will lack personality. Strive to find a balance between the two. Tip 3. Paint your walls a light color. Another way to make a small space look and feel bigger is to paint all the walls white or another light color. Dark wall colors are a big no in small spaces as they absorb light and make a small room feel even smaller. On the other hand, white walls are very reflective, which makes a space feel open and airy, as it maximizes the effect of natural light. Using white on all the walls will make the space look seamless and expansive, as it encourages your eye to flow smoothly around the room. It will also make the room feel calm and serene, provided you use a warm undertone instead of something overly cold. You can further the effect of white, creating the illusion of a larger space through painting your skirtings and door trims a slightly lighter or brighter shade than the walls. This will make the walls visually recede and creates a sense of roominess. By keeping the color palette to a minimum, you will simplify the space and reduce visual clutter. The space will be seamless and appear larger. You can continue this illusion by having furniture in your room that is in light or neutral shades. If you don't want to paint your walls white, pastel colors and neutral shades have the same reflective qualities. Tip 4. Have accent walls. Another way to make room feel larger through paint is to have an accent moment, as it brings a lot of attention to one area of the space, whilst letting other areas in the room to breathe. Examples of accent moments include painting a wall, fireplace, or door in a different color to the rest of the room. You can also do this with wallpaper. However, make sure that you use a large pattern, as small, intricate wallpaper designs can look cluttered, which can make a space feel smaller. Tip 5. Mirrors and other reflective surfaces. Putting mirrors in a room is a great way to trick the eye into thinking there is more space than there actually is. Similar to painting walls white, a mirror reflects light and color throughout a room, but to an even greater extent. When a mirror reflects, we perceive the bouncing reflections as increased volume, which is what makes a room seem bigger than it actually is. This effect can also be achieved through other shiny or reflective surfaces, such as glass or marble on tabletops and other items. One great place to put a mirror is on the opposite side of a window. The light from the window will be reflected off the mirror, which will make the space feel larger and balanced. This positioning will also make the mirror look like another window in space, which will create the optical illusion of an expansive world beyond the confines of the small room. Alternatively, you can use tall and slender mirrors as they draw your eyes upwards, which makes a room feel more spacious. If you're renting and are worried about mounting a mirror, you could consider resting an oversized mirror on the floor as a less permanent option. Tip 6. Buy smaller, low-profile furniture with legs. Another mistake is using furniture that is too large for the space. This is especially the case in living rooms when people buy large and overstuffed couches and other clunky pieces that weigh down the space. Smaller furniture makes space look bigger as breathing room is left between each piece of furniture. It is a good idea to try to use low-profile furniture that has legs, as it creates a feeling of openness due to the extra space below each piece. This type of streamlined furniture allows light and air to flow under and around it, which creates the illusion of more space in contrast to furniture that sits directly on the ground. As you can see in this image, the low arms of these chairs are not at all imposing, which ultimately opens up the space. Luckily, it is much easier to shop for furniture like this as many brands are starting to create smaller apartment-style furniture lines that are more suited to small spaces. You can also start thinking about using furniture alternatives in your small space, such as having a side table instead of a coffee table in your living room, or mounting a TV so you don't need large clunky media consoles. Tip 7. Round-shaped furniture. In addition to smaller, low-profile furniture with legs, you should consider getting round-shaped furniture such as round coffee tables or dining tables. Not only do round-shaped furniture pieces take up less space, but they also create a feeling of softness as there are no harsh or hard corners to interrupt the flow of the space. Tip 8. Leave enough space between furniture. While every inch is a premium in small spaces, you should avoid cramming in too much furniture. Make sure that there is enough space between large furniture pieces, ideally 45 to 60 centimeters between pieces to give you enough walkway. You can also try pulling away your couch from the wall if the space or layout allows for it. The space that is left between the furniture and the walls will create a sense of roominess. Another useful trick is to angle pieces in a corner. As you can see in this apartment, they've angled their armchair in the corner of the room to make the space feel bigger. Tip 9. Emphasize vertical elements. As briefly touched on before through the suggestion of tall, slender mirrors, emphasizing vertical elements in a small space creates the illusion of more height in a room. This can be achieved in many ways, such as using vertical wall paneling, floor-to-ceiling shelving, or even small details such as singular hanging bare bulb, which can emphasize the vertical space in a room. Alternatively, if you want to emphasize the width or length of the room, you can achieve the same effect through using horizontal wall paneling and furniture items that are longer than they are high. Tip 10. Blinds instead of curtains or shutters. You ultimately want to maximize the daylight coming into your room to make the space feel much larger and open. Blinds are one of the best ways to do this as they fully roll up and sit just above the window, exposing the whole window and allowing the most light possible to enter into your space. Curtains are not as good an option as they bunch up at the ends of the curtain rods, which can create a clouded feeling and block out some light. Similarly, shutters only allow small slits of light to enter into the room. Ideally, you want your blinds to be the same color as the wall to create a seamless look that again makes the room appear larger and more expansive. If you really want to use curtains in your space, there are still some hacks that you can use to make your space feel bigger. Firstly, use lightweight breezy fabrics, ideally in white, but other neutral shades can work. You want to avoid dark heavy materials similar to dark paints as they absorb light which closes up a space. Secondly, hang your curtains high. Following on from tip 9, emphasizing vertical elements, you want to put the curtain bar as close to the ceiling or even on the ceiling, and let your curtains fall all the way to the floor to give the illusion of height. Many people make the mistake of putting their curtain rods directly above the window, which shortens and constricts the room. You also want to make sure that the curtain rods extend horizontally beyond the edges of the window frame, so they can be fully drawn out and the full window can be exposed. Maximizing the amount of sunlight coming into your room will make it feel larger. Tip 11. Layer your lighting. At nighttime, you still want your room to feel as large and as spacious as what it did with natural light streaming in from the windows. The best way to achieve this is by layering your lighting, meaning that you use all types of lighting in your room: overhead, ambient, task, and accent lighting. In order to make your small space feel larger, you want to use lamps and other light sources that don't impose too much on the space. For example, use slender floor lamps that have small bases, or install recess or track lighting. If you want to learn more about how to properly light your space, be sure to check out my recent video on how to light a space that is linked in the description box below. Tip 12. Sliding doors. My final tip is to consider using sliding doors to maximize space. Compared to hinged doors, sliding doors save a lot of floor space as they sit flush to the wall when open. Nevertheless, this means that they can only be used when there's enough wall space next to the doorway. You may also consider using pocket doors, which are doors that slide into a cavity that has been built next to the wall. As they disappear when they're open, it creates the illusion of a much larger space. Living in a small space can sometimes feel limiting. However, by following some of these tips, you can easily make a small space look and feel bigger. If you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below and I'll try my best to answer them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.